Okay, so imagine this. You decide to build an observatory,
Yeah.
but not just like a little one in your backyard,
Right.
like a full-blown astronomical setup
Wow.
on the roof of your house.
On the roof.
That's exactly what Johannes and Elizabetha Hevelius did
Really?
back in the 17th century.
Wow, that's incredible.
And that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
We've got some great excerpts about their lives and work.
It really makes you think what you could do with a little ingenuity and a lot of passion. So they weren't at some fancy university or anything. They were just working right there in the middle of the city.
Yeah, it wasn't a quiet country estate.
No.
They were in Danzig,
Yeah.
which was this major port city.
Busy city.
And they still made all these amazing discoveries.
Right.
Like creating the first detailed atlas of the moon.
Oh, yeah, the selenographia.
Exactly.
A groundbreaking work.
It's incredible.
What I find really interesting is that they were working completely outside the typical scientific institutions.
Right.
Like there were no royal patrons.
Nope.
And no university funding.
They were independent.
Totally.
That's so rare for that time.
It is.
But Johannes was able to fund his own research.
Oh, how'd he do that?
Well, his family had a brewing business.
Oh, so they had some money.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was a true craftsman, too. Like, he grounds his own lenses for his telescopes.
Really?
Some of them were over 150 feet long.
150 feet.
Longer than a bowling lane.
Wow.
Talk about dedication to precision.
You can say that again.
Imagine the patience it must have taken
I know.
to build these intricate instruments.
On scratch.
Totally from scratch.
He really wanted complete control over his observations.
And you know that selenographia wasn't just a scientific document.
Oh, it's a work of art.
Absolutely.
It was so beautifully illustrated.
So detailed.
Even the Pope took notice.
Oh, really?
He did.
Was he a fan?
Well, not exactly.
Oh.
He actually called Johannes a heretic.
Oh.
It really shows the complex relationship between
Yes.
science and religion back then.
Yeah, the constant push and pull
For sure.
between new discoveries and these traditional beliefs.
Right.
But going back to the selenographia,
Okay.
what's so interesting is how he mapped the moon.
Oh, yeah.
He used terms like continents and bays,
Really?
almost like he was mapping Earth.
Exactly.
He was trying to make the moon relatable, make it familiar.
It's interesting.
And, you know, understanding the moon's surface
Yeah.
was crucial back then,
For navigation.
especially with everyone trying to figure out longitude at sea.
It was a big problem back then.
A huge problem.
So his work had these practical implications
Right.
beyond just pure scientific curiosity.
It wasn't just about knowledge for knowledge's sake.
Exactly.
But what really caught my eye in the sources you sent
Okay.
was the dynamic between Johannes and Elizabetha.
Yeah.
They weren't just husband and wife.
Right.
They were a scientific power couple.
I like that.
Now, their age difference,
Hmm.
that's something we can't ignore.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah, 36 years is a big gap.
It might raise some eyebrows today.
It definitely would.
But it seems like they had a genuine partnership.
It does.
They were really dedicated to each other.
Yeah. The accounts suggest a real collaborative spirit.
They worked side by side.
Side by side in that rooftop observatory.
I could just picture it.
Me too.
And she even managed their business affairs.
So he could focus on his research.
Exactly.
But she wasn't just handling the paperwork.
Oh, no.
Elizabetha was a bright mind.
She was.
I mean, fluent in Latin,
Wow.
a grasp of complex mathematics.
That's amazing.
Incredibly rare skills for a woman back then.
It is.
It makes you wonder how much she contributed to their work.
That's a great question.
I know.
It's something that historians still debate.
Yeah.
Was she just an assistant?
Or true collaborator.
It's hard to say for sure,
I know.
but either way, it's clear she played a vital role. Absolutely. And on top of all that,
Yeah.
they had 3 daughters.
They were raising a family.
Wow.
It's amazing they had any time to sleep.
I know, right?
But unfortunately,
Oh.
their story takes a dramatic turn.
What happened?
A fire in 1679.
Oh, no. A
A
fire.
devastating loss.
Oh, wow.
Not just for them personally,
Right.
but for the whole scientific community.
Years of work.
Gone.
All this meticulous observation.
Detailed drawing.
Custom-built instruments.
All of it up in smoke.
It's hard to imagine.
It's a reminder of how fragile knowledge was back then.
Yeah.
No photocopiers.
No digital backups.
Nothing.
It makes their perseverance even more incredible.
It really does.
I mean, Johannes was 68 at the time.
Wow.
Most people would have given up.
I would have.
But he started rebuilding immediately.
Really?
Yeah, they even reached out to King Louis XIV for funding.
Oh, interesting.
They emphasized how lucky they were
Yeah.
to be away from the observatory when the fire happened.
That's clever.
Right. They turned tragedy into a plea for support.
That's smart.
Yeah, but even with a rebuilt observatory, challenges remained.
Like what?
Well, Elizabetha got sick with smallpox.
Oh, no.
It was a serious threat back then.
Why?
And while she survived,
Oh, good.
it's likely she was left with scars.
It's just a reminder of the risks they faced
Right.
in the pursuit of knowledge.
Their whole lives dedicated to understanding the cosmos.
But it wasn't without sacrifice.
No, it was.
It makes their accomplishments even more impressive.
They really were dedicated.
To keep pushing forward despite these setbacks.
Yeah, and after Johannes died,
Okay.
Elizabetha took on this huge task.
What was it?
Publishing the remaining work.
Oh, wow. She could have just walked away.
She could have.
But she chose to champion their legacy.
That's amazing.
She secured funding.
Really?
Oversaw the editing.
Wow.
Even got financial help from the King of Poland.
Talk about a force of nature.
What a woman.
She published 3 major works in just a few years.
Really?
A fixed star catalog.
Okay.
A star atlas with stunning engravings.
Wow.
And a companion volume explaining their methods.
So detailed.
These were not minor publications.
I know.
Like the Star Atlas.
Okay.
The Firmamentum Sobiacianum Siv Uranographia.
Wow, what a mouthful.
Right.
But it introduced 11 new constellations.
That we still recognize today.
Amazing.
Elizabetha ensured that their work literally continued to shine among the stars.
It's beautiful.
It's a turning point in their story.
Okay.
They might be gone.
Yeah.
But their contributions to astronomy,
Right.
those are undeniable.
Absolutely undeniable.
Their names will never be forgotten.
Their legacy lives on.
It does.
In the stars.
Exactly. And their legacy, it's not just about cataloging stars or creating beautiful illustrations.
Right.
Their observations and records were a huge step forward for astronomy.
Like they provided a roadmap for future astronomers.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. We talked about the Selenographia earlier.
Okay.
What exactly made it so groundbreaking?
Well, for one,
Yeah.
it was the most detailed and accurate depiction of the moon
Really?
that anyone had ever seen before.
Yeah.
Astronomers relied on it for decades.
For their own observations.
For their observations and calculations.
That's incredible.
And it even sparked this debate.
A debate.
About the very nature of the moon.
Wait, a debate about the nature of the moon? What were they arguing about?
Okay, so remember, this is the 17th century.
Right.
The idea of a heliocentric universe was still pretty new.
Right.
And controversial.
Yeah.
And some people were really clinging to the idea that the moon was this perfect, smooth sphere.
Like a celestial marble.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But then the Heveliuses come along.
With their maps. Showing mountains and craters.
All sorts of features.
So they're challenging these old assumptions, forcing people to see the moon as this complex, imperfect thing.
It must caused quite a stir.
I bet.
But their findings, they weren't just theoretical.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about longitude?
Right.
Mapping the moon's features was crucial for those lunar distance methods.
Which were key for navigation.
Exactly.
So their work had real-world applications.
Yeah, it wasn't just about curiosity.
It had the potential to change trade routes.
And exploration.
This is fascinating.
Isn't it?
But they didn't stop at the moon, did they?
Oh, no.
They also spent a lot of time mapping the stars.
Absolutely.
And this is where things get interesting.
How so?
Because they insisted on using the naked eye.
Really?
For their star mapping.
Interesting choice.
It seems like a strange choice.
Yeah, considering telescopes were becoming popular.
Right.
You'd think they would have embraced the new technology.
I mean, telescopes seem like the obvious choice for accuracy.
Well, it's easy to judge in hindsight. Telescopes were still in their early stages back then. They were bulky, prone to distortion.
Right.
And not everyone was convinced they were reliable.
For precise measurements.
Exactly the kind of measurements the Heveliuses were doing.
So they were sticking to tradition.
Yeah, even as technology advanced around them.
You could say they were purists.
In a way.
But their star catalogs were still valuable, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Even if their methods were eventually replaced.
Their dedication to accuracy provided a wealth of information.
For other astronomers.
For astronomers, yeah. They could track star movements.
Okay.
Study their properties, even discover new ones.
Wow.
And don't forget about their star atlases.
Those beautiful engravings.
They played a huge role in popularizing astronomy.
making the constellations accessible.
To a wider audience?
It's like they were bridging the gap.
I like that.
Between the scientific world and the public's fascination with the night sky.
Making it less intimidating.
More visually appealing.
Exactly.
But their legacy, it's more than just the discoveries.
Right.
It's about their dedication.
And their resilience.
Setbacks.
Tragedy.
Even that fire.
They kept going.
Amazing.
They rebuilt their observatory.
Yeah.
Refined their methods. And left behind this incredible body of work.
It's inspiring.
And Elizabetha's role?
Right.
It can't be overstated.
She showed such strength.
Such intellect.
Stepping up to ensure their vision was shared with the world.
It's amazing.
A true testament to their partnership.
They weren't just colleagues.
No, they were deeply devoted to each other.
And to their shared passion.
Their story also highlights the importance of context.
Oh, how so?
They didn't exist in a vacuum.
Sure.
How did the world around them?
Yeah.
The social and political landscape influenced their work.
Well, it's important to remember the world they lived in. 17th century.
Yeah.
The scientific revolution was in full swing.
Challenging so many old beliefs.
Exactly, sparking debates all across Europe.
And the Heveliuses were right in the thick of it.
They were navigating this world where new ideas were constantly emerging.
Right.
Traditional authorities were being questioned.
And must have been an exciting time.
And a dangerous one.
Right.
It wasn't just about looking at the stars.
Yeah.
It was about understanding their significance.
In this rapidly changing worldview.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about the 30 Years' War.
Oh, right.
It raged across Europe.
For a huge chunk of Johannes' life.
Yeah, it must have had a huge impact.
War disrupts everything.
Trade routes.
Instability.
Resources.
Everything.
It makes their resilience even more remarkable.
Right. How did they manage to keep going?
With such a high level of scientific output.
It's incredible.
It makes you wonder if the war played a role in Johannes' decision to build that observatory at home.
Maybe it felt safer.
More stable
than venturing
into a world consumed by conflict.
It's definitely possible.
It really emphasizes how important their home was.
Right.
It was their sanctuary.
Their space to pursue their passion.
Away from the uncertainty of the world.
Exactly. And remember, they weren't in the countryside.
Right. They were in Danzig.
This bustling port city.
A hub for trade and cultural exchange.
It must have been an incredibly stimulating environment.
Nurturing their curiosity.
For sure, they weren't isolated scholars. They were part of this vibrant intellectual community.
But even with their success and connections, they still faced criticism.
Oh, of course.
Their debate with Robert Hooke
about using telescopes
got pretty heated.
Oh, yeah. Hooke wasn't exactly known for holding back.
He had a reputation.
Right, he could be quite scathing.
I bet that stung a bit.
Especially since they were proven wrong about telescopes.
But you know, scientific progress often involves passionate debate.
It does.
It's through that back and forth.
Right.
The questioning and refining of methods.
So that our understanding advances.
But even those heated arguments played a role in the evolution of astronomy.
They did.
And it shows that the Heveliuses were respected enough to be taken seriously.
Even when their methods were challenged.
They weren't dismissed as amateurs.
Exactly.
They were engaged with as serious thinkers.
Contributing to scientific discourse.
And Edmund Halley visited them.
Oh, right. The comic guy.
Yeah, he became a lifelong friend.
That's cool.
And you know what? Yeah. He even brought Elizabetha a dress from England.
A dress?
A fashionable dress.
That's a funny little detail.
It is.
It reminds us that these were real people.
Right, not just names in textbooks.
They have friendships.
Rivalries.
Personal lives.
It makes their story so much more compelling.
It does.
So what can we take away from all of this?
Well, I think it's clear
that scientific progress
is fueled by human curiosity.
By collaboration.
And a willingness to challenge the status quo.
The Heveliuses faced so many obstacles.
Setbacks.
Tragedy.
Criticism.
And they persevered.
They left an incredible mark on astronomy.
When we look up at the night sky, we see echoes of their dedication.
In the constellations.
In those detailed lunar maps.
In the quest to understand the universe.
They may be gone.
But their passion
and dedication
continues to shine brightly.
That's a beautiful thought.
Thank you.
And on that note,
we'll
leave you with this.
Okay.
If a couple working from their rooftop in the 17th century could make such groundbreaking contributions.
I like it.
Imagine what's possible today.
That's a great point.
Keep looking up.
Keep asking questions.
Who knows? Maybe you'll make your own discoveries.
Among the stars.
Thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure.